You know what? We got some good matchups here today. Got a couple of ranked versus ranked matchups. The highlight, of course, is number 4, TCU at number 18, Texas. TCU undefeated, and they're 7-point underdogs against a 3-loss team. And this is, we'll get into this a little bit later, how the rankings can be very misleading. But first off, in this particular matchup, what stands out to me, many things do, but one of the things that stands out to me, Texas has started fast and TCU has started slowly. TCU actually has 4 come from behind wins when they trailed in the second half. So for an undefeated team, the question is, how long can you sustain that recipe of success? It's going to get tough down here down the stretch, especially when you near that finish line of getting a college football playoff berth. Sometimes you grip a little bit tighter. So I'm really curious if this repeats itself today. Wouldn't be surprised at all if TCU faces a deficit in the second half as well.
Yeah, it was Bill Parcells who used to say you are what your record says you are. And, at this point in the season, week 11 of the college football season, if you're a slow-starting football team and have been for 11 weeks, well, chances are you're a slow-starting football team. So you're right, Brian. I mean, those chickens can come home to roost against better opponents. And Texas, if there is a team on the schedule which will or can derail the Horned Frogs, it's the Longhorns, right? They're one of the last 4 undefeated football programs in the country, and they're alongside Georgia, Ohio State, and Michigan. None of those are surprises. All of them were ranked in the top 10 in the AP preseason polling. Now, we know that the polling is what it is. It's not an accurate science. But say what? On a yearly basis, it's somewhat 70-80% accurate as to those teams that are going to either be 1-loss, undefeated, or 2-loss teams, and they're going to hover near the top 10 for the remainder of the season. TCU wasn't even getting votes. They weren't even one of the 47 teams that even got 1 vote to be included in this ranking in the preseason. So they've come out of nowhere. They've been able to sustain. This is going to be their best chance to get knocked off that platform here down the stretch of the season.
Brian, you nailed it, too, with the eye test on TCU starting slow. 2-9 against the spread in the first half.
Wow.
So, not great.
So
not
Texas
great.
First half, huh?
Texas first half, obviously.
Sounds good.
Texas full game, wink, wink, nudge, nudge for later. Get it probably now because the 7s might not be there if you wait. Just putting that out there.
Isn't that amazing? Just think about that sentence right there.
Yeah.
Against the number 4 ranked team, get the 7 right now for Texas because it might not last.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Lay the 7 now. You might even have to pay an extra 5 or 10 cents for it now. I saw that move starting to materialize yesterday, and I quickly went to my BetMGM app and made the wager. But that's neither here nor there. What is here nor there? We've been down this road before, guys. Last week, the number 1 team in the country, 8-point underdogs, closed around 10 to the number 3 team in the country. What happened in that game? Now, I don't think this game is going to have the same vibe to it as that one did, which was literally one team, Georgia, just pummeling Tennessee into submission. And Tennessee had nothing left in the tank at the end of that. I mean, it was a very physical game. I don't know if this game's going to be as physical. I think it will be physical. I think Texas's defense likes to play physical. And I've said his name multiple times on the show this year, and I've rung the bell for this guy all season. And this is the game where it will matter more than most. Gary Patterson's experience and savvy and guile on the Texas staff will pay off in this game, I think, more than any other game on their schedule. He knows this TCU offense better than anyone. And Pete Kwiatkowski's done a great job, too. This Texas defense is well-equipped to hold this TCU offense in check. Couple of housekeeping things. Quentin Johnson, questionable with an ankle injury, a game-time decision. I think he'll play, but how effective will he be? And how much depth does TCU have behind him at receiver if he's not 100%? The answer is not a lot. Max Duggan also a little nicked up with a calf injury. This is the war of attrition that TCU has played this year that they've been able to dodge every mine. I don't know if they're going to be able to dodge it today. I think today, especially based on the point spread, is the day that it all kind of explodes in their face.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. I go back to, and we mentioned this on the podcast, Jared, the Countdown to Kickoff presented by BetMGM podcast, by the way. Check it out. I make a baseball comparison with TCU because TCU, a big part of their offensive success is the big play. They hit big plays routinely. You have 13 touchdowns of 40-plus yards this season. That's the most in FBS. And if you look at against this Texas defense, which is pretty good, really good defense, and coupled with the injuries that you rattled off with Duggan and with Johnston, how good are you offensively if you don't have the big play? It's like a baseball team that hits a bunch of home runs in June and July. It's like, how good are you when you get to the playoffs and it's cold and the ball isn't flying out of the stadium? And sometimes baseball teams have problems when they don't have the home run ball that they rely on so much. So I wonder about that with TCU today. If they are relatively held in check and they're not scoring 40-plus yard touchdowns, how good is their offense? And I think we're going to get some answers today.
Oh, yeah, we absolutely will. And it's a good thing to point out that TCU really does rely on their downfield offense, and the best way to battle that is with the big guys up front. And Texas's defensive line is one of the best units in the country. They're the fourth best pass rushing. They have the fourth best pass rushing rate in all of the Power 5 teams in college football right now, and they are a tremendous front. I mean, they got Ajamo and Murphy and Coburn and Sweat. I mean, those guys are monsters up front, which means that you can play those deep shell coverages. You know, cover two, have split safety coverage, keep everything in front of the defense, just let your four horsemen up front try to get to Duggan and try to get him to throw off his spot. It's not always – people always get confused. It's like, well, they only sacked him once. You know, he just had a bad night at quarterback. It's like, whoa. If he wants to stay in the pocket and throw the football, or – if he even is one of those guys who can get on the edges and improvise, but he's being chased for dear life while he's doing it, those pressures matter. Your pressure rating in college football and in the NFL is just as important as how many times you actually get that guy on the ground. Yeah, that sets up longer yardage situations, and then second down's harder. Or if you get sacked on second down, third down's harder. It's an automatic punt. But getting pressure on a quarterback, having him throw off his back foot, having the timing be disrupted on routes downfield, having a situation where he can't see all the way through the throw, so he doesn't know if that safety's starting to get a jump to get in front of a receiver downfield, it creates turnovers. And so that's what this Texas team does the best. Now, on the other side of this, TCU has a talented offensive line, top 20 in pass blocking, top 20 in run blocking, so it's strength on strength here a little bit. But if I'm going to put my money behind one unit, it's going to be that Texas defensive line.
Just wanted to clarify one thing. 2-9 against the spread in the first half was last year. They've only played 9 games this year. They're 4-4 against the spread in the first half this year, with one of the games, Tarleton, not having a first half line. So in the last 2 seasons, 6-13 against the spread in the first half. Obviously, new regime this year with Sonny Dykes, so maybe a bit of a different spot. So the numbers aren't as bad this year, 4-4. As I originally led on, but still not great for a team that's fourth in the country, not getting off to great starts. That being said, I think the TCU defense is also in for a rude awakening in this game. And that's because over the last 6 weeks, again, TCU has dodged every bullet that they could possibly dodge on this schedule. They have faced, in the last 6 games, 5 backup or third-string quarterbacks. Wow. Texas Tech, backup quarterback. Kansas State, third-string quarterback. Oklahoma State, backup quarterback. Kansas, backup quarterback. Oklahoma, backup quarterback. They've been very fortunate to get to this spot. There is a reason why the power ratings say the number 4 team in the country is a 7 now, trending towards 7.5 point road underdog against the team with 3 losses. Against the team with 2 of those losses, teams that TCU beat. So it just... the market doesn't lie about this stuff. Now, does that mean the game's over? We should just all go home. Texas is going to blow them out and, hey, hook 'em horns. Matthew McConaughey, all right. No, they got to go play the game. And that is where things could go awry for Texas, because we know what we see with Texas. For example, last week, we gave them out as our play of the day. Yay, big win. It was close. They were up 18, and Kansas State had a chance to tie it in the fourth quarter because Texas has had this problem with closing out games. So while the market is clear indicator, like literally flashing red lights in our face, go bet Texas, 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 they still have to go out and play the game, and they still have to finish the job and close out a team that has had 9 lives like a cat all year long. So we'll see how it plays out. But the numbers, the analytics, the point spread, the market, it all says Texas. We'll see how it plays out tonight.
Yeah, it's interesting. I always think about this with betting. Am I betting on this team? Am I betting on Team A as much as I'm betting against Team B? You know what I mean? And it's like I think a lot of the Texas people siding with them are more so betting against TCU, I feel like. Because you mentioned it there, Jared. Texas has found ways, like the Los Angeles Chargers, of costing themselves games. And so I don't know if you're fading TCU more than betting on Texas for the betting public out there. It's an interesting question to ask yourself. By the way, Mr. Nicknames, do you know what the nickname is? And I don't know this for Tarleton that you mentioned.
I don't even. I'll look it up, but you stumped me.
Okay.
Do we have a Family Feud drop here? Survey says.
Yeah, I got him, Rich.
Got me.
Well,
Brian, you're obviously in attack
Scotties?
mode after Rich just totally pounced you in the first minute of the show.
That was not. I mean, nobody's had their coffee yet. That was really. I'm sorry.
I didn't think you even said hi yet, and you were already talking.
That was Sting from the top row.
I said hi, yeah. That was what I said. I apologize. Good.